Hey, welcome back to another episode. Today we are talking about the 9 to 5. So 9 to 5 basically just means having a steady Monday to Friday job. You spend 40 hours a week, typically corporate environments where you sit in front of a computer. And there's been a lot of talk lately about 9 to 5, how efficient it is. Do people want to do it? Is it necessary in today's modern world? So we're going to be reacting to some TikToks and let's see what we have in store.
The 9 to 5 schedule in general is crazy. Being in the office 9 to 5,
Oh, there are some bullshit comments on that post. Let's talk about it. That creator is giving an honest reaction to her first 9 to 5 and how overwhelming it is to not have a life outside of work. And how when you get home at night, you're too tired to do anything but sleep. It's dark out by the time you're done with work. This is all absolutely valid. We are not meant to be consumed by work. Yet there are so many comments on her post saying things like, welcome to adulthood, grow up, this is the way things are. No, F that. Attitudes like that are exactly what keep the capitalism machine churning. So let's set a baseline for this conversation. A 5-day, 9 to 5 work week, which we all know adds up to be way more than 40 hours a week, is garbage. I spent 13 years in the corporate world, and leading up to the panorama, I was waking up at 4 a.m. so that I could get to the gym by 5, so that I could have a slice of life before getting into the office by 7. By the time I left corporate, it consumed all of my energy, my time, my thoughts, and my emotional bandwidth, 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I have a client right now who's on the VP track at her company, and she doesn't even want it because she's in that same position where work is consuming her entire life. We are not meant to live that way, and it is not sustainable. Not to mention how absolutely toxic butts and seats culture is, or monitoring how often you're active on Teams or Slack. Forcing people to be parked in front of their computers instead of having a life has the inverse effect on productivity. It tanks creativity and morale. People don't want to be there, they're pissed off, and they're not going to give their full selves. On the flip side, when people are well taken care of and they have autonomy and flexibility in their schedules, they actually have the opportunity to bring their full selves to work and perform at their personal best. And what do you think happens to productivity then? It skyrockets. So does the health of a culture and the health of a company. Forced hours is ineffective. This creator crying with overwhelm is not something to look at and say, grow up. That's something to look at and say, everything needs to change. And listen, I'm 36 years old. I am no stranger to being given the label entitled millennial in a professional setting. And I don't care. I will fall on this sword every single time. Because millennials, Gen Z, and future generations are not going to settle for this. And the reality is, since I left corporate, I'm parked in front of my computer less than I ever was in the corporate world. And wouldn't you know it, I'm far more successful and make a lot more money than I ever did before. And that's because I finally rejected butts and seats culture and designed a career for myself where I actually have a life. And when I cut out all that BS, it gave me the space I need to explore my big ideas and creativity, exist in my zone of genius, and ultimately be much more effective and efficient in my work. 9 to 5s are the biggest scam.
Nobody in Gen Z wants to work a 9 to 5. Somehow society has told us that working a 9 to 5 is the worst thing that you can do. Even just accepting a 9 to 5 somehow means you're a failure, which is ridiculous. The odds are you will have to work a 9 to 5 to support yourself, and that's okay. That doesn't make you a failure. That doesn't mean your life will be miserable. That doesn't mean you'll never be able to be rich one day. Learning in industry is the best way to actually eventually be able to start a company. The average successful startup founder age is 45, right? These people are not young. You do not have to start a business when you're 18, right? The average person who does it successfully is in their mid 40s, and they've worked jobs up until that point. They have a 20-some year odd career, right? And that's because they have experience and they've done the 9 to 5. To me, refusing to work a 9 to 5 is not a sign of ambition, a sign of a go-getter. It's a sign of laziness, because you're essentially saying, I don't want to do the menial work. I don't want to do the hard work. I just want to get rich fast. I'm all for entrepreneurship. I want to be an entrepreneur too, but I understand working a 9 to 5 may be part of that. And for about 99% of us, it will be part of that.
The problem with 9 to 5 jobs isn't the job itself, it's everything that comes with it. You may only work 40 hours a week, but you sacrifice way more than that. First of all, half of your waking hours are either spent preparing to work or commuting to and from work. When it comes time to enjoy the other 4 hours you have every workday, you're kind of too tired to do anything that you really like to do, so you settle for something else, like sitting on the couch and watching Netflix. In my opinion, this isn't a good lifestyle. This is just modern day slavery. I don't see how you can describe it any other way, considering everyone is robbed of their time when they're even not actually clocked in and they're only paid pennies for it. For the life of me, I can't understand why people are okay with this. And by okay, I don't mean that people aren't complaining. Yeah, people are complaining about it. What I'm saying is no one's doing more than that. No one's saying, you know what? Screw this. I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to do something else. Like, this isn't 1970 anymore. The cost to start a business is virtually nothing. You don't have to be restricted to these stupid systems and these stupid ideas that don't make sense anymore.
Here's the thing, as a millennial, I remember when I graduated from college, 9-to-5s were still a thing. You were supposed to get an accounting job, job as an attorney, 40 hours a week. There were also some people who decided to go and start businesses. You see, millennials graduated during the 2008 recession, and it left a lot of us just like disappointed in the system. We were promised a lot of things, like get a job, you're gonna be able to buy a house and retire and live comfortably. And the recession took a lot of that stuff away from us. So we became a little bit disappointed, and we didn't want to go the 9-to-5 route. So we really started there. And then we started to go in, starting businesses, and the whole e-commerce wave came in like 2012, 2013. So I definitely understand why a lot of people now it's even worse than the 2008 recession. I mean, we had 2020, we had, the current economic environment and inflation and all these things. So a lot of people feel like, why am I going to waste my time in an office doing work that I don't want to do when I can just start my own business? And also, like, starting a business now is so cheap. You can start an LLC for like $100. You can do it in 15 minutes. It's not 1970 where it took, thousands of dollars and a bunch of paperwork and licenses and all these things. It is so easy to start a business now. So a lot of people are like, why not? I understand where the frustration is coming from. The 9-to-5 has definitely played a huge part in the success of America. If you go back to the 1960s and 70s, even 50s, the baby boomers had it really well. They could have a job with a regular salary, buy a house, their wife could be a stay-at-home mom. Times were different. Now, that same model, 9-to-5, it doesn't work because both parents have to work and you still cannot afford a house and college. You know what I mean? So it's just different now. People feel like I'm wasting my time away in a 9-to-5. So that's really where the frustration is coming from.
9-to-5s are fantastic. As I leave my corporate job for the day, ending the week here, I had a thought, a lot of us are on here always searching for that next dollar investment, something that's going to bring us back that time that we think is so precious. And I agree, time is precious. It's the most valuable thing. It's exactly what I'm trying to exchange my dollars for and build up so that I can have more time. Now, if you're young, here's what I have to say to you. And if you're around 40 and up, don't leave, because I got something for you too. But if you're young right now and you're wondering, like, okay, where do I go from here? Unless you're extremely entrepreneurial, you don't have too many which ways to go except for a 9-to-5. And my suggestion is find a 9-to-5 that gives you the utmost value early on. And what I've seen through experience is two pathways. Number one, sales. Find a sales role where you can quickly develop and have a high OTR, potential earnings over the year. Oftentimes that happens through technology or finance, but it doesn't have to be. But just study and research whatever company that you're potentially interested to do sales for. Make sure you have high earners, and then go for it. Now, if you're someone who is not as sales oriented, but you're organized, project management, go to the PMI Institute or even Google, get your certification and learn the terminology, especially if you're going to go into sales. Learn a little bit more about technology as a whole and the terminology used within agile and project management in a technology setting, and then go get a job for $90,000, eventually turning into $120,000, right? And start spending less, make a fucking budget, and putting that money into cash flow investments. I promise you can become a millionaire doing this. And if you're older, 40 and up, I'm turning 30 here in a couple of months. So I've went through my life a little bit, if I could go backwards. I'd do it a little bit differently, but I started with investments that aren't necessarily cash flow. I should have started with cash flow investments. So I'm just now arriving to the point where now I'm investing into potentially things like real estate that do monthly income, so that I can like start to actually replace potentially my 9-to-5 with something that requires far less of my time than 8-10 hours a day. That's my thoughts on 9-to-5, especially because I feel like I see on here in the crypto community it's villainized a lot. It's a fantastic tool. Don't get it twisted. And if you put yourself in the right spot, it can be great.
Don't let social media trick you into thinking a 9-to-5 job is the worst thing in the world, because it's not. I'm on my way to my 9-to-5 job now. It gives me stability. I have great work-life balance. Once 5 o'clock hits, like, I do not think about work. I am not checking emails. Like, I am clocked out. I don't work weekends. I get a paycheck coming in every 2 weeks. Like, I know how much money I'm making. This job allows me to live the kind of life that I personally want to live. I am an influencer on the side, so I do technically have 2 jobs. And yes, you can make a lot of money influencing once you get to like a certain level, but it's very inconsistent, at least in my opinion. Like, there'll be a time where you get a lot of partnerships coming through, and then there'll be another time when it's really slow and it's really dead. And then some partnerships take you a month to pay out, 2 months to pay out. I've had some take me 3 months to pay out, which is not great. So you have to be really smart with your money in that way. And I feel like if that was my only income, I would be really stressed. Everybody wants something different. I know there are some people that like being a business owner or hustling, like it works great for them, and that's amazing, but not everybody wants that. And I think a lot of people in life just want stability, and there's nothing wrong with having like a little quiet job that you are not necessarily personally or emotionally attached to. You just do your work, you make your money, and then it allows you to live the kind of life that you want to live. And there's nothing wrong with that.
So there's definitely a case for 9-to-5s. The good things about 9-to-5, they're stable, you're getting benefits. Usually, if you work for a big enough company, it's not just going to go bankrupt out of nowhere. If you start your own business, it can go bankrupt out of nowhere, especially if it's your first business. 90% of small businesses, they go bankrupt in their first year. So if you're just looking at the odds, a 9-to-5 is actually not a bad thing. You just need to figure out how to play it well. Nobody's telling you that you got to stay in a 9-to-5 for 40 years and retire there. But like the first person said, work in a 9-to-5, save money, make a budget, stack your assets, and then maybe in 10, 15 years, you can leave that 9-to-5 if you invest smartly. That's what a lot of people don't do. They get a 9-to-5, they work, and then they just party and go on trips and vacation, and they don't plan for the future. It's not going to turn out that well. But a lot of people, especially the ones we just heard, they will take their 9-to-5 and they will use it as their first investor in their business. So they'll do that for like 10 years while they stack their money, while they try to work on something else and start a business on the side. Once that business takes off is when they can leave their 9-to-5. Instead of being disenfranchised and annoyed by it, the world is what it is. You got to learn how to use it to your advantage. And that's exactly what these people are doing. One is doing brand deals on the side. The other guy is investing in cash flowing assets. That's how you do it. You use the 9-to-5 to take you ahead and take you further. And that would be the smartest strategy to do. Instead of just complaining about how bad it is, try to flip it into something positive.
Okay, so what's wrong with people working 9-to-5s? So I'm on this side of TikTok where a lot of like influencers who like was like big on YouTube, who was big on TikTok at a certain amount of time, they've gotten a 9-to-5. I can name like 2. Ace, he got a 9-to-5 and he's from Tennessee, Tennessee, that's where I live. And then King, Neek ex-boyfriend or whatever, he's just told us how he has a 9-to-5. And everybody's so quick to go judge, like, dang, now you working a 9-to-5. Dang, man, now you gotta clock that clock. Y'all do realize it's some good 9-to-5 jobs out here who pays very well, and guess what? You guaranteed that check every 2 weeks or every week. You guaranteed to have money in your pockets. No ifs, ands, and buts about it. So with becoming a influencer, or whatever you want to call it, a TikToker, YouTuber, you're not always guaranteed to see the same amount I think they get paid every month on the 15th or something. So it's like, I think it's smart to have a 9 to 5 and still put content out, because you're still guaranteed this money to even invest in the content that you're doing. And then you making money, whatever, if it's $600, $500, $1,000, that's just extra money. That's like a 9 to 5, and doing social media is literally an extra stream of income. And y'all trying to make it seem like it's just so bad to have a 9 to 5. It's not. And I'm glad, like, I really hope these YouTubers and influencers ain't making y'all think, oh my God, I gotta keep doing YouTube. I gotta keep doing this. I can never get a 9 to 5, because then people gonna be saying this, saying that. Understand, if you want to do YouTube as a career, great. If you want to work a 9 to 5 as a career, great. If you want to go out here and be a TikToker as a career, great. Do what you want to do. As long as money coming in and them bills are getting paid, who gives a fuck? I'm just saying, I think it's kind of crazy. Like, social media is so... The same people in the comments talking about, dang, you got a 9 to 5, has a 9 to 5. Quit thinking all these YouTubers, TikTokers, influencers, etc. are rich. Quit thinking that. I'm not saying they don't have money, but quit thinking they just so rich. Just based off of what y'all see. This is what y'all seeing. Like, social media have y'all head so gone. Somebody could... The car Moneybag Yo by Ari, he could have leased it, and they could have just took the picture, put a bow on it, and now social media like, oh yeah, I need me a man like Moneybag. He gonna buy me a car. Whole time it's leased. I'm not saying that's the case, but I'm just saying you never know. So yeah, y'all, let's normalize that working 9 to 5. There's nothing wrong with it at all. Make your money.
You know how niggas be on here all the time talking about, man, and 9 to 5 this, 9 to 5 that, hating on 9 to 5. Always got something to say about working a 9 to 5, right? You got to be an entrepreneur. You got to, have 5 hustles, a LLC, be a business owner and all that shit. Man, look, I love my 9 to 5. Shit, my 9 to 5 got me looking real gravy right now, you feel me? Shit, it was my 9 to 5 do for me. Shit, I'm about to go to work right now. About to go do this little work, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying, bro, they got me out here for the week doing work, work. So, I'm just saying, bro, it's some 9 to 5s out here that's, not too shabby, that I don't mind going every day and clocking into. Not everybody hates their 9 to 5s. Cause, mine got me out here at the Marriott in Waikiki, whole resort. You feel me? About to go knock this little workout, come back, go to the beach.
This is something that a lot of people don't talk about at all. A lot of these people online who are selling you the dream of entrepreneurship and, oh, I made $1 million in 1 month, I'm 19 years old, they're lying. A lot of people, they will rent a car and take a picture in front of it, sell you a course. There's so much lies. I heard this story about a guy who had 2 million Instagram followers but couldn't pay his rent. He wasn't that famous, but he had 2 million followers. So he talked about this and he goes, stop worshiping people online. And that's exactly what we're doing. A lot of YouTubers and TikTokers, they have 9 to 5s. A friend of mine, a famous TikToker, had a 9 to 5 for years while he was blowing up on TikTok, on Instagram as well. It's easy to fantasize about all these people and dreaming about their success. And believe it or not, there are some really good 9 to 5s out there. They will give you a good salary. They will give you amazing benefits. You have a boss that lets you take off. You have generous vacation policies. Not every 9 to 5 is a death sentence. There are really good companies out there. Not every company, not every boss. I'm not saying that. What I am saying is that there are a lot of good companies out there that will let you live your life, but you also got to work, because at the end of the day, they're hiring you to do a job. So you need to find that middle ground where you can say, all right, listen, I'm going to work here and I'm going to do this on the side. Like, I wake up at 4 a.m. to go to the gym every single day, Monday to Friday. And that's because I need to get my workout in, but I also got to work. I got to be responsible so I don't lose my income stream. Like, that's how you got to think about these things. I worked for a company once that let me travel. I traveled, maybe not to Hawaii, but I did travel to California, to Miami, to Chicago, and they let me stay at expensive hotels. It was amazing. And a lot of companies don't even give you that benefit. So at least I got that experience. So I know what I'm talking about when I say there are a lot of good companies out there. Not every company I worked for has been amazing, but there are a lot of good, amazing companies that will take care of you. And you can use that job and the free time they give you and the flexibility they give you to try and start something on your own. So that's really the strategy that you should be using if you don't feel like a 9-to-5 is for you. Use it to your advantage. All right, guys, that's it. That's all I had for this video. Make sure you comment, like, and subscribe if you liked it. And let's get a discussion started in the comment section and see if we can help each other.